Ever since the beginning of mankind, some of the big questions humans have been asking is, what does it mean to do the right thing? How do we avoid making bad choices? How do we be nice to other people? You would think that after studying this stuff for so long we'd finally have some answers, but so far nobody has figured it out for sure. That's because morality is a complicated concept to define.
Hermione, whatever this is, it's not simple.
However, most social scientists agree that morality basically means being good, while its opposite, immorality, means being bad. In this video, we're going to use these basic definitions as a framework to assess Voldemort's actions throughout the Harry Potter series.
Why aren't you all copying this down?
Voldemort is a morally ambiguous and confusing character for many viewers. That's because, on the one hand, he's pretty mean to the people around him.
Who do you imagine wants to attack children like yourself?
Oh, I don't know, maybe Lord Voldemort.
But on the other hand, he's just doing what it takes to try and live forever. He even displays certain moral virtues, such as kindness and civility.
First, we bow to each other. Come on now, Harry, the niceties must be observed. Dumbledore wouldn't want you to forget your manners, would he?
And it's not like Harry is Mr. Nice Guy all the time either, as he can be pretty evil himself.
I said I'm fine, Ron. Shut up, Malfoy. Get back here. Better clear off before my bones come back, Dobby, or I might strangle you. I really don't care. I don't give a damn what your father thinks, Malfoy. I just feel so angry. I'm gonna kill him. You're the weak one, and you'll never know love or friendship.
But despite these minor character inconsistencies, by and large in the Harry Potter series, Voldemort is the immoral antagonist, while Harry is the moral protagonist. After taking a closer look at his actions, we at Free Movie School can confirm that Voldemort is indeed immoral, or bad, most of the time. Stick with me. At this point, you may be wondering, how do you know for sure? Isn't that up to subjective opinion? Well, actually, no. There are 3 basic tests you can use to tell if somebody's actions are immoral. First is whether you feel sympathy for them. The next is whether what they were doing is wrong. And the last is whether you would do the same thing if you were in their position. As our first example, let's examine the pivotal moment at Harry Potter's house, number 12 Grimmauld Place, where Harry meets Voldemort for the very first time. In this scene, Voldemort illegally breaks into their house, murders Harry's mom and dad, and then tries to kill Harry next.
Voldemort tried to kill me.
As a side note, this scene happens in the books, as well as the movies that the books are based on, meaning that the following analysis applies to both.
Excellent.
First up, the sympathy test. It's understandable why you may have some sympathy for Voldemort, since it's pretty embarrassing that he was defeated by a tiny baby in a fight.
You know who almost died there?
But keep in mind that he was successful in murdering 2 grown wizards. So, to his credit, he did win 2 of the 3 battles. You might also feel sympathy for him because he doesn't have a nose, so he can never smell all of the wonderful smells in this life. It's pretty sad, I know, but don't forget, he used to have a nose when he was a kid, so he probably got to smell some things at least. So rest assured, you don't have to feel too sorry for Voldemort in this scene. No sympathy? Check. Now for a second test. Was it wrong? This one's a bit more complicated. On the one hand, the 10 Commandments clearly state that you should not kill people, no matter what. But the thing is, Voldemort doesn't actually kill Harry in the scene, which raises the question. If a murder attempt doesn't actually work, is it still wrong? In the words of philosophy, do the ends justify the means? The correct answer, according to most police officers and judges in the United States, is yes. Murder is still wrong, even if it isn't successful. So far, things aren't looking great for our friend Voldemort and his questionable moral choices. But I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't we take his perspective into account before judging him too harshly? That brings me to our last test. Would you have done the same thing in his shoes? If you think about it, Voldemort was just looking out for his own best interests, because he was trying to become immortal. Honestly, if you consider how amazing it would be to live forever, you can start to understand why he did what he did. But is it immoral to become immortal? The words are pretty similar, which is a suspicious link. But it doesn't necessarily mean they are the same thing. So, all that's considered, would you do the same thing if you were in Voldemort's shoes? We can't answer that for you, because that's up to each person's individual moral compass. If your answer is yes, just go grab a Sharpie and write a checkmark on your screen in the far right box. If you said no, don't worry about it, just leave that box blank. Ready? Okay, let's find out the results. If you checked 2 out of the 3 boxes, then congratulations. Voldemort's actions are definitely immoral. And if you checked 3 out of the 3 boxes, then you should probably take a look in the mirror, because that means you are immoral too. In conclusion, no matter what way you slice it, the attempt to kill baby Harry at Grimmauld Place was probably a bad moral choice on Voldemort's part. That makes sense considering that it caused a lot of suffering. Harry had to grow up all alone without real parents,
You're the reason they're dead.
And the poor Dursleys had to take him in and put up with his mischief for 11 long years, when they weren't even planning on having any more kids. Now, thanks to Voldemort, the only way Harry can see his parents is inside this magical mirror that Voldemort trapped them in using the Sorcerer's Stone. And even that gets taken away from him when Dumbledore decides to get rid of it.
Tomorrow, it will be moved to a new home.
But the battle at Grimmauld Place is only one small example. So what about Voldemort's other actions throughout the rest of the film series? Turns out there's a whole lot of them, so you can see why the topic of morality can get overwhelming to study. For example, what about the times when Voldemort killed Cedric Diggory right in front of Harry? Tortured Harry for fun. Got a tattoo on his arm. Killed a unicorn and drank its blood. Peer pressured his friends into getting tattoos on their arms too. Committed arson as a child. Pushed Gandalf off a tall building. Used spells that were forbidden by the Ministry. Made friends with an evil snake. Snuck around on the Hogwarts grounds after curfew. And the list goes on. Were those actions wrong too? Or were they justified? Well, why don't you tell us? Using the 3 basic principles we taught you today, complete your own moral analysis of Voldemort's actions throughout the Harry Potter series, and comment your results in the comment boxes below. Spoiler alert, most of his actions are immoral. If this video provided you with some clarity on the character of Voldemort and why he is such an evil man, then be sure to subscribe for more movie magic.
I love magic.
See you next time, and thanks for your loyalty.